Hello and welcome to Dad Got This, where we answer the tough questions like, can I nail a brisket on my very first try on my Kamado Joe Big Joe Classic Series 3? And where do cows go on dates? That second one's easy. The movies. We've done ribs, we've done chicken, we've even done pork belly. It's time to tackle that big boy, brisket. And to do that, let's go outside and get the Kamado Joe set up. It is like 39 degrees here in Florida, so let's get this done quick. We're gonna use James from Smokin' Dad Barbecue's Double Indirect Method. Let's set it up.
With the bottom of the slow roller in, I'm gonna throw probably about 4 big chunks of smoking wood in the bottom. I am using apple today. And now we're gonna cover that with a lot, like a full thing of fresh lump charcoal. To start my Kamado, I like to use a flamethrower, a propane torch. Works really well. Hold it over the coals for a couple minutes, and once you get like a fire starting with some flames and white lit coals like that, it's ready to go. It's the fastest and easiest way to light a Kamado.
We're gonna let that warm up with the top vent completely open and the bottom vent completely open for about 20 minutes. Try to knock the cold out of the ceramics, and then we'll go ahead and get everything in and start stabilizing our temps. This fire's been going for quite a while, and it says it's up over 650 degrees, but that's just because the flame is hitting where the temperature gauge is. It's not 600 degrees. Watch. See how that says 600? But I shouldn't be able to touch it like that if it was 600.
Now to pull off the double indirect method, you're gonna install your slow roller like you normally would, and then you're gonna use your X piece. Put the heat deflectors on top of that. I'm using a sheet pan covered in aluminum foil as a drip pan. Worked perfectly. And that extra heat deflector is supposed to make things work better.
Now we're gonna shut this guy down. Close this guy off. We're gonna go to 1 on that. And our bottom vent, we're gonna set to 1 finger. We're gonna let that stabilize to a nice low 225, 250 degrees Fahrenheit for that first hour. And then we'll kick it up a little bit. We're gonna cook this a little bit hotter and faster than we would normally cook on other grills. Now that that guy's heating up and getting warm, let's season our brisket. But I already trimmed this brisket the other day. So let's go back to then, which is not now, to look at me trimming a brisket very quickly.
For this trim, I did not do much. I basically got it out of the package, took off some of the ugly looking meat on the sides, shaved down a very little bit of the fat cap. And other than that, I did not do much. I didn't even really shape it. And with all that out of the way, I think it's time to go to now.
When will then be now? Soon.
I wasn't really aggressive with the trim, so I only took off about a pound, so we're left with right around a 10-pound brisket. I'm not gonna use a binder on here. I think we're just gonna go straight seasoning. For seasoning, I don't have any pre-mixed rubs left, so I'm gonna have to do this on my own. I've messed this up on quite a few occasions, but I think I'm getting better, so I think I can kind of nail this down right. For the cook, I'm gonna cook fat side up. Normally on the Kamados, you'd cook fat side down to protect the meat because of the bottom heat being so intense. But with this double indirect method, it should protect the bottom quite a bit more. So I'm hoping to do fat cap up and see if that works out nicely. All right, for seasoning, we are going basic Texas style with a little bit of a twist. Coarse black pepper, coarse salt, and some dad dust. This is my mix. 50% granulated onion, 50% granulated garlic, and a little bit of MSG in there just for taste. All right, we are gonna start with the salt. Season from up high. And I'm making a huge mess. I would normally like to do this outside, 30 degrees. I think that's good on salt. I'm gonna hit it with a little of my dad dust. And the last bit, the black pepper, this is what's gonna build our bark. I am erring on the size of under seasoning, which I can then punch up later if I need to. You can never take it back. Repeat. We're gonna hit the sides, mainly with the dad dust and the pepper. I think that looks good. It's nicely coated, not too heavy, hopefully on the salt. I hope. I'm starting to think I might have put too much salt, but we'll find out. I don't think I did. Did I? I hope I'm not. To monitor this cook, I'm gonna use my RFX wireless meat thermometer. If you wanna know more about it, I'll throw a link down in the description where I did my first unboxing and review of it. So far, liking it quite a bit. It's a wireless thermometer, so we're gonna go ahead and find a good spot, I think, probably right here. Make sure I can't feel it poking through. Oh, see, it's poking through a little bit. So we wanna come more sideways. Okay.
Right now the ambient temp says 208, but that's gonna go up since I just closed the lid. And the meat is only at 36.8 Fahrenheit. So we got a ways to go. We're gonna do it at this really low temp for about an hour just to really try to build some smoke. And then we'll ramp up to a higher temperature, probably something in the 325 range. It has been 1 hour. The pit has been rocking at exactly 250 degrees Fahrenheit, and our meat is at about 82. At this point, we're gonna open it up, take a look at it. I know I don't need to do that, but I'm doing it for your sake. And then we're gonna kick the temperature up a little bit. Apparently, on these cookers, hot and fast comes out a little bit better than low and slow. Not too much, it's only been an hour, but we're already getting some like smoky looking goods on there. All right, we're gonna close this guy down. We're gonna leave our bottom vent at 1 finger, and we're gonna go to 2. See where that gets us. That should bring this temp up a little bit in a little bit. It's about 20 minutes later, and the temp has gone up, but not as far as I'd like. So I'm gonna kick it up a little more. We're gonna go to the 3rd line. We are just about 2 hours into this, and I just got a warning from my RFX that we hit 350, which is a little bit more than I wanted. So I just took the top down to 2.5 instead of the 3rd line. So hopefully just kind of get it into that 300, 325 range. But let's take a look at it and maybe give it a spritz. Looking pretty good. A little dry on the edges. Maybe we'll hit the edges up with a little bit of 50-50 apple cider vinegar. And then just a little bit here. We're gonna kick that down, try to get that temp into the 325 range. We are at 4 hours on this cook, and we just hit the stall, like 165 Fahrenheit. Let's go ahead and take a look at it. All right, we've got some pooling happening here on the top. So we're gonna have to do something about that. But looking okay. I would like a darker crust, but maybe I need to add some more smoke. At this point, I think I'm gonna foil boat it because it's not really dark and black like I'd want. So let's foil boat it to keep some more smoke hitting it. The foil boat process is basically taking your brisket, and instead of fully wrapping it, you're gonna only kind of wrap the bottom, making a little brisket sweater, I've heard people call it, exposing the top, but enveloping the bottom in foil. This is gonna allow smoke to hit the top while it continues to get all the way to probe tender. To deal with the pooling, I'm gonna use a trick that I got from Harry Sue. And we're gonna take a block of wood and kind of stick it underneath the brisket where the pooling is happening, so it kind of raises that area up. Make sure you get an appropriately sized block of wood, not a giant one like I just grabbed. Get something that's just gonna kind of raise it enough so we can tilt it to one side and get it so that the juices drain off to that side. I think this one will work well. We've been running at about 300-ish Fahrenheit. I'm gonna leave it 1 finger down on the bottom, and we're gonna go pretty much 3/4 on the top. Leave it around here. I think that should be good. To try and get a little bit of extra smoke in there without having to disturb everything in the fire, I threw a couple of wood chips in there, and they weren't really smoldering from the ashes, so I decided to hit them with the torch. Once they kind of got going, stuck it back in there. Figure I'll get a little extra smoke that way. According to the probe, the meat is at 201 degrees Fahrenheit.
So I think it's time to start checking it for tenderness.
At this point, I'm not even looking at the temperatures. I'm just pushing into the brisket with the probe and feeling for resistance. You want it to feel like it's going into like a jar of smooth peanut butter. You don't want much resistance at all. You want to be able to almost have like the probe fall into the brisket, and that would mean it's done. It's a little bit tight in that one spot though.
I didn't get that dark meatier brown bark, but that could be because I don't have any sugar in my rub, and I was pretty light on my pepper. We're gonna let this go for a little while longer. We'll check it in about 30 minutes and see if that center section has kind of tenderized a bit. It's been about 30 minutes. Let's see if we've gotten any better. At this point, it is probing super tender in the point. The flat only in the middle has a little bit of resistance, so I'm gonna call it. I'm gonna give it a full wrap, and we're gonna go ahead and stick it in my Ninja wood fire, set at 145 Fahrenheit for a hot hold for next couple hours before dinner. A relatively short 2-hour rest for me. Usually I like to do overnight rests, but timing didn't work out that way. Looks okay. I would have liked this dark part to be the bark everywhere, but that's not what I got. So look at that jiggle. The jiggle is what it's all about. All right, we'll cut it in half. Waterfall. We definitely got a juicy one here, guys. Not bad. Cheers. Flavor's on point. My bark sucks, but the rest, really good. Okay, this part is from the flat. It's a little bit firmer, but perfectly tender. Oh my God. I don't know if you can see, but I did get a little bit of a smoke ring. All right, so for the flat, that was good. For the point, you want to twist it 90 degrees and cut against. So let's see what we got here. I don't think you could get juicier than that. Now, these are the end cuts. And a lot of people love these the most. This is a very fatty end. Like I said, I didn't trim very much, but cheers. Oh man.
It's a pretty good brisket, but it does have its faults. It has that big pocket of unrendered fat, and that's because I didn't trim it, and the lack of the bark.
Flavor's on point. Seasoning right on the money. If any of you have any tips on how to improve my bark on a Kamado Joe brisket, please let me know in the comments. But no one's gonna be upset if you serve them this brisket. It tastes fantastic. Here's my wrap up and thoughts. I did a post-burn inspection and all of the smoking wood that I put in was gone. I think I needed more smoking wood. I think I needed to put some on the bottom and some on the top to get extra smoke, to keep that smoke all the way through. I also should have been loading that ash drawer with smoke more often than I did. I think my lack of bark was due to the lack of smoke. So when I do this again, heavy smoke for 2 hours at 200, 225, then kick it up to about 275, 300 max for the rest of the cook. The foil boat, I think, did great. I mean, oh no, there was no extra tallow added to this guy, and just buttery, tender, and delicious. Can't stop eating it. I want to thank Kamado Joe once again for sponsoring this video and for the grill. Love that thing. I have been just having a blast cooking on this thing. I don't know what to cook next on it. Give me some ideas down in the comments. I'm interested to see what you guys want to see me try on this cooker. If you guys are enjoying this content, please do the likey, subscribe stuff. YouTube loves it when you leave a like. I love it when you leave a comment. I answer just about every comment in my comment section. And if you really want to support the channel, consider becoming a member. Members get early access to videos, shout outs, producer credits, all kinds of fun stuff. But if you can't become a member, please just subscribe. I would love to hit 50,000 sooner than later, and that would be a big help to me. With all that out of the way, I guess there's only one question left to answer. What's a cow's favorite TV show? Grey's Anatomy. Yeah, pretty bad. Dad may tell horrible dad jokes. Cook a pretty good brisket on the Kamado Joe. But one thing Dad will never do is an outro. So that's it. Bye.
This is the part where I thank all of my members. You guys are the absolute best. Thank you so much for your support, and rock on. I don't know why I said rock on, but rock on.